Guys, welcome to the channel. Sonny here, and we are back with another Global Lab update of November the 24th. And this time, there is some super big changes. We finally get to see the Arsha server stuff, and it's actually way better than I thought at least. We also got some new class changes, some PvE buffs and things like that. And a quick note about the nerfs from last week to DK, LAN, and Wizard. They did not make it onto the Korean server, even though they got the buffs from that patch. So it looks like the nerfs are either cancelled or put on hold. So potentially they won't ever come out. And if they do, there might be some adjustments in the future because we got a lot more changes coming still to affect PvE. So it could be that those nerfs are not going to be needed in the future. So I'm actually happy that they're pausing them until we see the final result of all these changes happening still. So let's get to it. First off, shout out to Black Desert Foundry. Link in the description as always for reading the patch notes if you want to check out the numbers and everything yourself and the details. Right, here we go. Here's the list. We got Arsha server changes, changes to an outfit, Black Shrine improvements, minigame improvements, ocean content, Grand Prix improvements, Crypt of the Resting Thought changes. I wouldn't say improvements. It's more like changes, and some class changes. Right, let's get to it. The big one first, the Arsha server. So doing the dev talk, also the next dev talk is already announced just right now in this very moment. It is going to take place. The final dev talk, the 3rd of this month, is going to be on Thursday, November 30th, and it will be at 23 Korean time. So that should be 5 o'clock in the evening in European time. So we'll cover that as well when that happens. Now, in the last dev talk, Jay talked about changes to the Arsha server, and we're now seeing those changes. However, and this is a big one, it is not a change to the current server. If this goes live the way it is, it will be our second Arsha channel. So it looks like we will be getting the current Arsha channel, which will be unchanged. And then they're going to be adding a second Arsha channel to servers that will have these new rules. I assume there's nothing in it here about the drop rate, but I do assume the drop rate buff will still be there. Now, let's take a look at this stuff. An Arsha server with new rules will be added. In this server, the information of everyone except party members is not displayed. So all adventurers are displayed as strong adventurers and can battle freely without issues. There is no need to even flag up, and guild members do not know each other's identity. Every adventurer you meet within the server becomes your enemy. In Arsha server with new rules, we hope that there is no need to consider who the opponent is or which guild they are, and it will be a space where adventurers who want to purely enjoy PvP can operate without feeling the pressure of activating the force battle. The rules for the existing Arsha server will also remain the same, but please note that there may be changes depending on the situation. So the TLDRs, you go on the new Arsha channel, everyone is already forced flagged up. You can't unflag. Everybody is already PvP, basically red players. And you can't see the names of friends or foes. And you can attack even guildies. There are also a few more things to this. An Arsha server with new rules have been added, right? So on this server, adventure information such as family information of a character, item acquisition message, so whenever somebody gets a rare drop like a depot, it does not show their name in the system channel. It's just strong adventure, so you can't like snipe people like, oh, this guy's over there, let's go. It could be a guilty outgrinding. You wouldn't know unless you ask in guild chat, of course. Death screen or journal are all displayed as strong adventure. So if somebody kills you, if they don't tell you it's them, you will not know who it is. Yeah. You can have your guildies running around and you wouldn't know. It could be a lot of fun and a lot of excitement. The best thing about this is that it's new. It's an addition. If this was a change to the current Arsha, I wouldn't... Like, I can see a lot of cool things with this, but I also like a lot of the current things with Arsha. So I'm super happy and excited that it's an addition. And now we have these two PvP channels that have like sort of different functions for different users and like what people enjoy. If you're in a party with your adventurers here, their names will be displayed. So if you group up with people, you can see their names. The connected server is displayed in tooltip guild members in the icon status. On the server, everyone except you and your party members are treated as enemies. So everyone is like red players to you, and you're a red player to everyone else. Platoons are not possible on this server. And if you join a platoon on a regular server and swap over, you'll be kicked off the platoon. So the biggest group you can make is a 5-man group. You can't make platoons, it's cool. Actually, a lot of cool things with this, but it would also suck not being able to have these big platoon fights. But you can still do that on the old Arsha. So this is like a win-win situation. Now, this little change of only being able to be in groups, and you have to remember, a group, even if the same guild with another group, they will be able to hit each other, and there's nothing they can do to change that. So let's say that you are like getting circled by 10 people. You got a group of 5 people. Like these 2 other groups that you're actually fighting will still be hitting each other. So it's basically going to be more free for all, even if people wanted to do bigger groups, they can't. Now, what is the coolest thing about this, in my opinion? It's the fact that this will probably incentivize more of the homies to show up. I mean, we all know like a friend that is like, oh guys, a GVG is popping up, and that friend is like, you know what, I'm AFK right now, I don't want to get circled out. A lot of people don't show up to these fights. Oh, it's there's 7 people and we're like 3 here, we need some help. You show up and now you're 9 people and there's 7, so now you're circling, and then they bring 10 more, and now it's suddenly like fucking 17 versus 9, and you can't bring more, and now you're getting circled out. It's not a fun fight for anyone, and it basically just can escalate until one side gets circled out, right? And a lot of people like, I don't even want to show up for this, right? So knowing that if somebody's like, yo, I need a hand, you know it's going to be at maximum a 5 versus 5. Sure, there can be like 5 versus 5 versus 5, but it's still in reality a way higher chance of getting equal fun PvP. And I think this will incentivize more people to show up for these fights, to be like even more high chance of getting some fun PvP encounters. So I'm actually very excited about this, mainly because it didn't remove the GVG, the 20 versus 20 fights on current Arsha. This being a separate channel is the best solution to this. Now I'm super excited because all the issues that followed from this are not relevant anymore, because that is still available on old Arsha. Huge W. Guild members belonging to the same guild are still showing up as white squares on the minimap. There is no way you can know it's a guild member unless you talk to each other in guild chat. If you hover over the white square of another adventure, it will show strong adventure. There is no way of identifying. Speech bubble over character's head are not displayed when chatting. It does look like you can type in chat. I guess your name will show up. But if you don't want to be identified, you won't be identified. There's nothing the other player can do to find out who you are if you're out PvP. You have to self-snitch if you want to. Skills that benefits allies only apply to party, so you can't PA somebody that you're not in party with or whatnot, or heal. Guild skills work the same as before. Doing PvP on the Arsha server between warring guilds, the increase in kill death between guilds work the same. And here we have an image of how it would look. So pretty much everyone just got a free ghillie suit whenever you're on this new Arsha channel. You show up here, strong adventurer. You can't see family name, guild names, nothing like that. You can, however, of course, see the costume. So some players have specific costumes. You know them from their looks and everything. So sure, you'll be able to identify people. You're going to run into the same quite often, and you'll have a good idea who people really are. But I'm super excited for this. It's going to be a lot of fun if this comes out, when it comes out. So that's the new Arsha. I'm so excited about this because it's a bonus channel. Can't wait for this now. I was a bit worrisome, but now big W. Okay, next up here is a small thing. The shell bell armor, you can now exchange it to another version, unlimited, and it's this. Right, so yeah, the real content. Black Shrine improvements. They've done some changes already to some of the bosses. This is great. They are reducing the damage output and the attack range and everything on Gumiho. On Uduksini, again, they're changing the attacks to be easier to dodge. And this one right here, most important change to Uruksini. The range of certain attacks have been reduced and adjusted to more accurately match the effects. A lot of these attacks, and especially the cyclones going through and all that, they do not match the actual indicator. So this is going to make the fight way more doable, less RNG, random, and annoying, especially for melee. So that's great. They're also changing the timing here. The issue where hit detection timing for certain attacks was not appropriate has been corrected. There is the big one-shot ability the bird does, which is delayed by like a full second from the actual attack hitting. So great, they're gonna make it more intuitive and actually deal the damage as it's supposed to, so you can outplay it better. Barre is getting some damage adjustments as well on the hit. Imugi is getting some changes here to the fight. I just did Imugi yesterday. Warrior first NA. Pretty cool. It was a lot of fun. Finally got it. C7. It's a lot easier already. So these changes here is gonna mean that it's probably gonna be an achievable boss for a lot of people. Again, it's still a harder boss. There's no doubt about that. But more of these slight nerfs is gonna be more in line with the other bosses. The Golden Pig King has some issues and bugs that's been fixed, and then Sangoon got some damage changes as well, except for the one-shot mechanics. The gathering minigame has been made easier across the board. All of them just easier, more time to do. The big one here is going to be the gathering one. That's the game where you have to like flip over tiles, the memory game. I don't remember anything. You, instead of being from 5 to 7 routes, or 5 to 7 routes, it's 4 to 5. You get 5 seconds more to do it. And most importantly here, even if you make a mistake on a tile, it doesn't matter. The only thing you have to do is find all the routes now. So it's gonna be a lot faster and easier to just, or was it one or another one? It doesn't really matter. You just dig on the one, or was not, you go to the other one. You don't have to make it look exactly the same. You just have to find the routes now. So that's nice. For ocean content, they are making it a lot easier for beginners to do the questing and get their boats. Currently, the best way to get boat stuff, if you are trying to make a boat, is to have somebody boost you on the daily quest. Because it takes way too long to kill the sea monsters yourself. You get one of those with a big boat out, just one shot them, boom, done. They're making it easier. So they're going to reduce the HP by 80% of these sea monsters in a specific area. So new players building the boats can do it. And then they're also gonna, for the people that still help their friends out, do the ocean group stuff, they're adding titles for killing all these sea monsters. So the veterans out there, they have something to work towards. Also, they are changing more titles here. The daily quest and weekly quest, so you can get more rewards if you are out doing these things and you bring a homie along. So some solid buffs to the sea monster stuff. We got some daily quests here, crow coins, all that stuff you can get for your boat. The Old Moon Grand Prix, they are making some changes to it. Yeah, I guess it's just gonna be faster to start. You don't need to have a full lobby before it starts. That's about it. They really want to try this. It's just, I've never tried it. Maybe it's fun, who knows. And they're updating the prices as well. So you have over here, the weekly quests. It's really cool. So you have 3 weekly quests here you can do, 1, 2, and 3, so you can do 3 a week, and it gives you a total of 3 mythical feathers and 90 royal fern roots. So if you're working on T10, this is actually kind of nice. Big one. Crypt of the Wrestling Thoughts. This is the place that drops the bprimegaming build. And this is actually the best silver silver per hour in the game. If you're grinding Crypt and you are enhancing your depots to chat for profit and selling them, on average, this is the best silver power in the game. They're making some pretty big changes to this right now. This is also the #1 spot in terms of accuracy requirement. So I'm just gonna show real quick here. If you go in and we can see hit rate calculator. With this here, like 70, and then down here, Crypt at 23%. So like this requires 50% more accuracy. compared to pretty much the second hardest accuracy spot in the game. It is completely its own league when it comes to accuracy requirements, which means it's out of bounds for a lot of players and a lot of classes. Now, let's take a look at what they're doing. The evasion power of monsters have been reduced by 20%. So they basically reduced the evasion by 20%, meaning you need less accuracy. And this means that more classes are able to now reach the required accuracy to cap out and actually grind the place. And to compensate for making it easier, they're making it harder. The HP of monsters in Crypt has been increased by 30%. They've also added a few monsters into Crypt, and they've adjusted some monster location in Crypt. The monsters, from having somebody go on there and look at it, it looks like it's like one mob here and there. It's not a whole lot. And in terms of, is this a buff or a nerf? We're gonna have to see how it actually functions. A lot of times, like the numbers obviously show that it would be a nerf to the spot. It would take you longer to kill, 30% more HP, but only doing needing 20% less accuracy. That's you can convert that into AP. It should be a harder spot, like slower to kill. However, more classes can do it. Also, sometimes how damage works and all that, it is funky. It will make it more accessible for more people. And it would probably be a nerf to the super geared people that are grinding this really hard. But the people that are going into this place looking to work on the AARK belts, it's probably going to be a lot more accessible to them. I'm still on we're going to have to wait and see how it is in actual like the top grinding for people that have a lot of gear grinding this. But I think this is a really good change, even if it means people are grinding on average slower, because you don't have this weird requirement where, oh, your class, you don't have enough accuracy, well, you can't grind here. End of story. So I'm happy to see this. I think it's going to be better for more people. A lot of people were afraid and not interested in even trying going for the double belt, even though it was the correct like value item to go for, simply because it had these extreme gear requirements or class requirements. So it's a bit more in line with the rest. I think it's probably going to be a good change in totality. It's still going to be a very high accuracy requirement, by the way. Other changes, description changes, doesn't really matter. Quest and other changes, we're moving on. Right, mount changes, this is great. The way I read this here is, if you've ever flown a T10 Pegasus, you know that there are invisible walls. And sometimes you would fly, you use your sprint in the air, and you just poop, hit a wall, and just fall down. They've been able to fix that apparently. So when you're out there, you're flying, you won't just randomly stop in the air and fall down. Amazing, great, awesome. We love that. They also changed the design of the delete recent alchemy and cooking recipe. Good. And a couple of like visual bug fixes and everything. Now let's get to class changes. In today's patch, the rules for speed reduction effects now in PvP situations. Oh, they changed the rules for the CC stuff, the slows. The TLDR is there will be no more slow stacking. There are currently some abilities on classes that have slows that stack. They say they're removing all of that. The only slows that will stack is a skill slow with an add-on slow, which is already the case. But they've removed all of those other abilities that stack with each other. So great. Slows is one of the most cancerous thing. It's way too powerful in a lot of situations. And especially slow stacking in group fights is just unbearable. So honestly, good change. Everything else is staying the same. It's basically just they're removing ability slow stacking. Now for the class changes, we got Awakening Stork here, getting some very good changes. These changes are probably going to be bigger than they look at the surface. We got some damage increases here. I believe this is around 20% damage on Violation. The damage on cooldown remains the same. And you can now turn Violation. You should be able to mouse move this as well, but you can turn doing it. The backwards is still going to be the same, but a lot more movement to reposition, get back attacks in PvE, maybe even PvP. Next up is Blade of Darkness, been improved to link smoothly when using other skills, and Wild Pain is getting some solid changes here as well. They removed the fragment consumption, and now it will always do the damage, the multiple hits, as if it had the fragment consumption. They also increased the range to be unified at the widest range, so AoE increase, and it's going to be linking better with our bunch of skills. So here we go. We can take a look at some of the linkage here going on, like comboing using the skill. Super smooth and clean. Over here, Grim Reaper Judgments, additional collection effects of Grim Reaper was not applied using the core, has been corrected, so bug fix there. Now for the Wild Plan, the damage increase is again, I think it's a 20% damage increase roughly. However, instead of having a 2-hit with no shots and then 6 hits with shots, you now always get the 6 hits. So you no longer uses fragments for the extra hits. That is now a passive addition. So it's a really big damage increase on this ability. Is it enough? We'll have to wait and see, but I think it's like really nice changes. On Musa Succession, on Gale, they removed the first 2 hits, and so you only do the 3rd hit now, just remove from the ability. And that's a good thing. Succession Musas were always cancelling out of that, and if you did those, you were fucking up your combo. So now you don't have to worry about it. It's just that last hit, which is the big hit, fast DPS. It's also gonna be easier for like comboing, so you don't really have that chance of messing up the combo by accidentally doing the 2 first hits. So just changing the ability, removing the useless part that people was trying to avoid to do anyway. They also changed the cooldown from Rising Storm Blade from 25 to 15 seconds. That is a huge damage boost whenever it's up. 25 seconds is ludicrous though, so 15 seconds, it's gonna be up a lot more obviously, but it should be pretty much in every single pack, potentially in like a double usage in a combo at in-game spots. So it's a really, really solid damage increase as well with this one. Also the PV damage on Kava has increased, and the damage change to decrease during the cooldown. So more damage on Kava, and you got some damage increases here. I believe the numbers was between like 10 and 10 and 20% damage increase on Sock Musa as well across the board. Awakening got some buffs as well here. They reduced Inferno Slash by 3 seconds, and they added an add-on to it. They also made Eradicate, Backward Shades, been improved to link with Eradicate, and then they got some damage increases here. I believe this was between 10 and, was it 50% damage? No, this was like 10 and 15% damage, I believe, on Awakening Musa as well. Got some nice damage increases. Sock Musa got some cooldown reduction on Razor Blade, and PvE damage increases again. Assassin, really nice changes here. Got some cooldown reductions on Rich Reaver, cooldown reduction on Chosen Blade. So you can keep like, on the changes here allows you to keep like the Cyclones up way more, do more damage with them, and also change some buffs and debuffs around, which should allow comboing to be way better. On Prime Doomslash, they removed the DP reduction and they added 20 AP to it instead. And then they added the DP reduction over to the Prime Purge skill instead. And then they removed the AP from the 2 other abilities that could proc it, so now it should be just a lot easier to keep it up. They also gave some damage increases here, quite substantial damage increases on Quicksand, Dal's Dominion, and Doomslash. Awakening got some nice changes too. Cooldown reductions from 13 to 10 seconds on Serpent's Coiled. That's a Giga ability. Next up, we got some damage increases here. I think it was between 8 and 50% on this one. Here we go, like absolutely crow kick, huge damage increases on this one. It went from being a filler damage to actual a real damage ability. Really nice damage increases over here on Awakening with some cooldown reduction. Striker is up big right now. One of the big issues with Sock Striker was, well, it had really good sustained DPS. But you had to use your shards to get an attack speed, and then on your second round you get a crit rate buff. They're changing that, so now when you use the ability, when you use Prey Hunt, it will also activate the Bloody Fang if you have your shards on. So you're going to get both the attack speed and the crit rate buff right away at the start of your combo to instantly have the high DPS. They're also making some more adjustments to the activations, the AoEs, and all that stuff. And it's getting some some damage changes here, some damage buffs. Like 20% on a lot of these, 16%, 10% damage increases. Solid across the board, but getting that crit rate atop the attack speed at the start of the combo, great. Awakening Mego over here is getting some evasion shred. 9% evasion shred has been added. It didn't have any of that before. They've also increased the critical damage buff from 20-10-5 to 30-20-10. So you're going to keep it up way more, potentially permanent now. And it got some damage increases on abilities as well. And that's it from this time. I'll be back on next Friday. Don't forget to tune in at twitch.tv/bprimegaming. I'll see you all in the next one. Subscribe!